In the heart of Flint, where strength meets community, one organization makes waves of change. The Urban Renaissance Center is more than just a helping hand, but a lifeline, bringing hope and opportunity to neighborhoods and people across our city. From food and water drives to make sure families are fed, to education programs that enlighten and inspire our next generation, or health initiatives to ensure everyone has access to care. The Urban Renaissance Center is here to build a stronger community within Flint, but we can't do it alone. Within our philosophy, Ubuntu, I am because you are. We believe that together through spirit, compassion, and resilience, we can overcome any challenge and create a brighter future, not just for everyone in Flint, but across the world. We interviewed different members not only from our organization, but our community as well, to gain different perspectives and to amplify their voices and views throughout Flint and the world. Gaining insight on how the Urban Renaissance Center has impacted their lives in the community as well through practicing Ubuntu.
Actually, I came for a preaching engagement, and the church was going without a pastor and asked would I consider staying in as interim pastor. So I was working in Racine, Wisconsin as a consultant. Mm-hmm. And I had some free time, so I decided to stay. And I didn't know this was my new assignment, so I've been here ever since.
I am the art curator slash head of safari here. I am the art curator, but I'm also the art teacher here. So as the time goes on with the curriculum coming up and everything, if you want to be an art student, then I welcome you here. But also, if you want to get involved in the action, if you're already an artist and just want to come and help me construct a few things, I would welcome all that as well. We have a safari here, and it has to be displayed at various occasions, various locations, and so on. So it's kind of like my job to make sure that it's arranged in a way that's palatable, if you want to call it, that the public views it properly and in the context, because we also have little placards that are informational for all the animals. So it's like a source of information as well as a display.
Yeah, horticulture director. So I'm in charge of the community garden that we're running, as well as developing a 3.5 acre plot of vacant land out here, where we're going to have we're not only going to be growing crops, we're going to be having like flower gardens, community activities. Community garden down here, it's been going on for about 3 years. It started off with just two guys out there, rototilling and planting crops. We're expanding it. I'm here managing that. We've got a team of guys that are going to be helping out. We're planting all kinds of vegetables. We got some fruit trees down there, herbs, lots of healthy foods. And we're looking forward to sharing that with the community.
Well, a long time ago I got involved, and I got involved even before the URC was here. But I got involved with URC by just coming up to the church and volunteering in the community, cleaning, garden, communicating, uplifting, advice, receiving, giving. That's how I all came to be part of the URC building when it came upon.
So I had actually met Pastor when he attended a community event that Steve, my boss and SIPI CEO, had brought him to, and it was a service-based award. So I briefly met him there, and when I had started my position at SIPI, I was introduced to him more formally through our work with the Urban Renaissance Center. I would say I didn't really have a choice in my introduction. However, the amount of time and energy and love that I try to engage with the URC is definitely drawn from the people, the community, the impact, and really the magic that lives here.
I've been involved with the URC for about 8 years. When the URC first caught on my radar, it was back during the water crisis when we started to focus a lot more on neighborhoods and the issues happening in neighborhoods. And one of the things that caught my attention was the demolition of houses happening in Civic Park. As we know, Civic Park's an historic neighborhood. It's listed on the National Register of Historic Places. And I started to get involved with some organizations in the neighborhood to kind of understand the issues that folks were facing. I was initially against the demolitions that were happening because they were historic structures, but I needed more context and I needed to find out what was behind the motivations to want to tear these down. So as I did that, I got involved with different organizations, met people in the neighborhood, and that's when I became acquainted with Pastor McCatherine and the Urban Renaissance Center.
The URC came about as we continue to work in Flint and the poverty, the crime, the violence. Mm-hmm. And so part of the conviction is we got our hands raised up to God and people are suffering around us. So let's raise our hands down and reach them out. And that's where the Urban Renaissance came as a social separate entity of the Joy Tabernacle Church to deal with social problems and issues. Well, the community really responded well because there was a lot of needs, and that kind of led us into really the water crisis, where when the water crisis happened, mm-hmm. There was a lot of disengagement because the supplies and the water was getting to some people, mm-hmm. but not to communities like us. So we addressed that with the Ruth Mott Foundation, and so we did 3 pilot projects here, which were 3 years that we gave out water every Saturday, food, clothes, and became really kind of international mm-hmm. Center for people who were trying to help.
So one of the first things you'll notice when you walk into the Urban Renaissance Center is that you're welcomed. Most of the time you walk in any organization and people are looking down at their desk or they're busy doing what they need to do. And when people come and visit the Urban Renaissance Center, people stop and they welcome them. And that's from the top down. That's from Pastor McCatherine all the way to some of the other staff, to the volunteers, and to the clients we serve, folks coming in and going through the program. People will stop and welcome you and make you feel at home and make you feel that you're part of something. So you do want to be part of something when you go there.
It felt cozy. It felt approachable. It felt welcoming. The first time I actually walked in, it was a group of people around the infamous, or not infamous, but famous conference room table. And it was, everyone turned their heads and looked at me as I was walking in, and Pastor ushered me to sit down and join, and I think it was another meeting that was wrapping up, but in true pastor fashion, I jumped right in and had the opportunity to kind of listen in on what was going on, which seems to be quite the theme at the Urban Renaissance Center. So that was a nice baptism, if you will, of the culture here at the Urban Renaissance Center, where everyone just jumps in and is participating actively, which I appreciate.
Well, when I first got here, I was thinking it's too good to be true, because of the flexibility that's allowed here and the room for growth. It's like unlimited room for growth here.
So I think I've noticed our impact in a couple of different ways at the Urban Renaissance Center. First, let's take a look at some of the organizations that have grown and that continue to flourish in the neighborhood. Many of your local organizations, like the Neighborhood Organization and a few other kind of smaller nonprofits in the area, look to URC as kind of a resource and kind of a hub that they can come and do their activities. The next thing I see really is in really just the way the neighborhood looks. You can see physically that the neighborhood has improved, right? Through little things that they do with things like the Clean and Green program and help cleaning up the area. And the interesting thing about that is it's from people within the neighborhood themselves, right? People are working together to make sure that the neighborhood physically is a nice place to live, and it looks a lot nicer these days as a result of the teamwork that the URC has with the folks around Civic Park.
Starting from the beginning and seeing it now, I can tell you right now that it's a pack in the community big, because everybody's starting to see it. Everybody wanting to be part of it, or want to know what we got going on, or how we even made it this far, or what are them guys doing over there? What is the point they trying to prove? And to me, it's no point that we're trying to prove. It's just a better community that we working so hard for, a better community, better people, better within yourself,
I think there was a lot of moments. I don't even think I was here when I realized it the most at the URC anymore, working with the URC anymore, but there were just certain things in my personal life once I had left the URC that kind of started to unfold, and it really showed me that I learned a lot and that I still have more to learn. I think that some of the experiences and interactions and people I encountered during my time here, again, it just kind of showed how I was at one place when I got here and I ended up in a total different.
The water crisis happened. People from all over the world came and captured the story. But it left us without the ability ourselves to tell our story from our version. And so, twofold reasons. One is because it gave us an outlet to create, where we had an opportunity from Flint to tell our story to the world, as well as it became an instrument to draw in young people who rapped, but their rap was violence. And this was a kind of a carrot and a new avenue to change the narrative. So the studio became an avenue to change the narrative of the rap that's negative. And so we created a vehicle by which people can tell positive stories and capture themselves and be led with a new narrative. There's been a tremendous impact in this community, years now. When we first came to this community, it was known for the most violent community in the city. And a lot of the young people put down their guns and picked up tools. And we had training programs, workforce development program. The Ruth Mott Foundation worked with us, and we are now a Ruth Mott Community Hub, where we develop workforce development. We have agriculture. We create a whole ecosystem of sustainability for a geographical area called the Mbutu Village.
There's a lot of things that people can and do come to Flint to learn about at the Urban Renaissance Center. For instance, Pastor McCathern's vision of Mbutu and how we're all kind of obligated to one another. That founding philosophy as a way to run a nonprofit, as a way to see a neighborhood, as a way to engage with people is something that people have come as far away from, not just Michigan, but other states. And then that has an impact, right? That kind of thing. That's what we're always looking for, are how are the things we're doing at a small place like Flint's North End, how is it scalable? And I think that's a perfect place that people come to learn from us, is a good example of that.
Since I've been here, I've seen the community more connected. I've seen the community more involved and more aware. And I think that that connectedness is what Mbutu is all about. I've seen people connecting throughout the neighborhood in a way that harkens back to the old communities, as opposed to just how it's been portrayed as the hood. It's actually more like the neighborhood again.
I think in our current endeavors and our current goals to bring more of the Ubuntu thought and practice into the community to really infiltrate and hopefully have positive outcomes of reminding people that we aren't an individualistic society. We cannot grow and prosper to the level that we want to alone. And I think this organization does a really good job at reminding people you don't have to do it alone, and instead either teaching folks how to navigate those things, because you shouldn't be expected to know everything or how to do everything. And this space is a really safe and cozy atmosphere to really learn and grow and evolve within yourself, and then take that out into your community of people here in Flint.
We was in a meeting, and they was talking about what's the word for it? How we could put this in people, how we can make people remember this, make it part of their daily lives. So, and stuff like that. So they was talking about putting it in books. They was talking about writing it down. They was talking about advertising it more and more. And the thing about it was with me is I put my perspective out there, and I said, what about the spirit? Because if you don't have the spirit, or you don't have the mind, the heart to do it or whatever, it's not gonna go nowhere. I mean, you could have this, you could have a book, you could have something to read. To me, you have something to read, you have a book, you can have somebody there in your face, you know what I'm saying? To me, it's uplifting somebody's spirit. You gotta uplift their spirit and keep it there to the point where they wanna be part of this, and they want to grow themselves. They want to, get involved. They want to see some part of this that they have put themselves into, and this is happening because of you, Of course, it's all of us, but you're part of it, So you can say that if you want to. That happened because of me,
Transformation.
Universal.
Passionate.
Family.
Resilience.
Healthy.
Is because there is a synergy here, an energy here. Mm-hmm. There's, to me, something very special here that allows people to be themselves, to be comfortable, but at the same time to adapt to a new lifestyle here and be transformed and be productive and homeowners and being a part of the university. This is a center place where the University of Michigan, Flint, MSU, the world connects here. And it gives inner city people an opportunity to realize that their world is much bigger than just this neighborhood.
Hey, it's Josh. We are down here in the boiler room of the URC, starting our seeds. Right now, our germination room is being touched up. Dom's putting the finishing touches on it. So we're here in the boiler room because it's pretty warm. Our tomato and pepper seeds, which is what we're starting right now, they need the heat to really germinate and sprout. So that's why we're down here doing this.
Hi, I'm Chris Beardsley. I'm the National Service Coordinator for AmeriCorps, working with United Way. And today we're over here at the URC starting tomatoes and peppers. And right now we're in the boiler room due to the germination room being under construction and finishing touches being put on it. And the boiler room is the most ideal place besides our germination room because of the temperature. So peppers and tomatoes require a higher temperature for germination than most, and we need to keep them really warm. And so what we will be doing this year is the AmeriCorps demo garden, and then we will be starting cultivation over at a new site, which we will be cultivating 3.5 acres, and we will be putting an orchard over there in the next few years. So the big plan is to be able to create food sovereignty here in Flint, choices for everyone, and make sure that no one's left out in being provided nutritious foods, and like I said, creating a food sovereignty.
Hey guys, so about a month ago you saw us in the boiler room. We were set up down there starting our seeds. Now we're down here in our own dedicated germination room. We got lights set up. You can see some of these tomatoes and peppers. Those are the ones we were starting from seed a month ago. They're taking off. They're loving these lights. We're getting them some good soil, diluted fertilizer, and they seem to be loving it. Here at the URC, we've never had this kind of grow operation before. We've never grown on this scale. We've grown extras. Not all this is going to go in our garden. We're going to be giving some of it away. We are really excited to teach the community about growing their own food, getting them excited about that. All right, so we'll be planting right around the end of May. All this is going to be, well, not all of it. A lot of it's going to be going outside in our community garden plot. We'd love to see you down there, help out. And like I said, we'll be giving some of this away too. So hope to see you there.
And we've always worked with, for the last 10 years, the University of Michigan and the Capstone programs. And we're so excited that this is one of the Capstone projects of the University of Michigan. And we've had hundreds and hundreds of students from the University of Michigan who have come through here either through classes or through their intern or through the Capstones.
The Urban Renaissance Center has touched and impacted many lives throughout Flint and beyond. But we need your help to continue our practices of Ubuntu and giving back to the community. We asked you to join us to help with local community events in our local garden, or to just stop by and use our facility for podcasts, movies, music, and more. With our philosophy, Ubuntu, we strive to lift up Flint and continue its greatness. Visit our website to learn more at www.urcflint.org, or come visit us directly at 2505 North Chevrolet Avenue in Flint.